it's been said, okay, even if we recognize that the Crusades, Inquisitions, these different things in church history demonizing the Jews do not reflect the spirit and teaching of the New Testament, and that there were true Christians who opposed these things and so on. You can't argue with the fact that without the long, ugly history of Christian anti-Semitism, the Holocaust would never have occurred. It's true. It's totally true. I do not believe that the atrocities of the Holocaust, which were not just Nazi Germany, but Poland participated, and Hungary participated, and Ukraine participated, and other parts of Europe participated, that there's no way these things could have happened unless there had been a certain Jew hatred in the fabric of much of the society, and that was due to, quote, Christian anti-Semitism. What you have to understand, though, it is an Anglo phenomenon. You do not find this equivalent in African Christianity. You do not find this equivalent in Asian Christianity. You do not find this equivalent in Latin American Christianity. It is primarily an Anglo phenomenon. And especially countries, you may find more of this in a Latin context because of European connections. But in an Asian context, in an African context, and there's been the history of Christianity in some of these countries for centuries and centuries. India, according to tradition, back to the Apostle Thomas in the first century. Egypt, an ancient community of Christians going back to the very earliest stages of the gospel spreading in the ancient world. These things are unheard of in terms of these types of atrocities against the Jews. So what's my point? The point is simply this, that this took place in certain soil and it connected with the church breaking away from Jewish roots and the Bible in many, many ways. So it was a hypocritical church, a church that had largely departed from Jewish roots, a church that could be complicit with the murder of Jews, has nothing to do with the New Testament, and is localized in a particular part of the world. So yes, without a doubt, without this history of so-called Christian anti-Semitism, the Holocaust would never have occurred. Absolutely. And it's deplorable and it's horrific, but it's completely aberrant, as we have underscored time and time again.